Well, I think it's a good thing to have it around town the way we do now at a lot of the businesses. But I'll be honest with you, I really miss the fact that we used to have it at the park. We used to have it all day thing, all weekend thing, at the park, and my family and I would hang out there the whole time. I really don't know why we stopped that, and I'd like to find out. One of the things I'd like to ask them. Even if doing it at the park doesn't mean we can't have it around at some of the businesses as well. I just don't understand why we're not doing it there. That would at least help with some of the noise, and I know that it was usually closed down by, I think, 8 or 9, so that it wouldn't be late enough for any of the noise ordinances either.
To the person playing the music, it's never loud enough. To the person listening, it's always too loud. Right? Let's face it, the town. There are technology advances. There are decimal meters. There are things in the state. Other towns have implemented it, where you can actually measure the noise level at certain distances and do something where it's objective, and you don't have to depend on people's thing. And that's something we're going to have to invest in, and you have to train the police department to do it. But I think that is part of the answer to get it out of out of the subjective and move it to an objective level.
Thank you. Joe?
One of the problems in Pike County in general and in Milford is jobs and businesses, thriving businesses that create jobs. And here in Milford, you've seen like the Italian restaurant about a year ago leave on Harford Street, and now Fredda's is leaving, as I understand. How do you keep jobs in Milford, for one? And how do you attract more business here to create more jobs?
Why don't we go the other way? Frank, why don't we start with you?
Yeah, that's
Actually, I see it more, how do we get more jobs than how do we keep the jobs, because we tend not to be able to generate, especially for the young people, that they have to travel. I think a lot of that is infrastructure, that we need to face the fact that we need central storage systems. We need to face the fact that we need better electrical services, so we can get, there are call centers in other towns. We have a lot of educated people here and around in the area that could work in a call center, but you have to have an infrastructure, redundant electricity, redundant telephone services and things. And I think we have to work towards that. We have to work towards a central storage, because restaurants or anything, it's a hindrance. And I think we have to make it business friendly, where companies will come in and invest in, I consider it quiet jobs, things like call centers and things like that.
Well, honestly, when we look around, we don't have any storefronts that are open now. If you go to Newton, it's awful. All of the storefronts are open there, and there are no businesses there. I don't think Milford has it that bad. Would it be nice to have more jobs here? Of course. But this little borough here, it's going to be hard to bring out the jobs here. I'm not saying we can't have something out, Matamora, Port Jervis, but I don't think that's really our concern here in the borough, I would say. We don't want a factory here. We've been fighting, we don't want McDonald's here. We don't want anything right here in the borough that's too big anyway. So the main thing, I think the mayor and the people that have been doing it in the borough is pretty right. We don't have storefronts open here, thank God. And we just need to make sure that we don't. So whatever we're doing okay.
I think every business is different. They have their customers that some businesses that thrive on certain things, and some have issues and problems with just staying open. I think really Milford's for the most part there isn't a lot of vacancies or empty storefronts or buildings in Milford that seems to be not really an issue with that. It's just maybe with keeping the young people around here, which is the hardest for pretty much any business, that because there's a lot of bigger companies, a lot of bigger opportunities, and we're just a small town, I really think it's kind of, I don't really know the answer for that.
I think as a small town, we need to promote probably more small town business. That's some mom and pop kind of stores, and technology has kind of pushed those to the back burner. I think every small town is struggling with the same issue. We have a big weekend, population around here, so it's hard to only obviously keep a business working on weekends, but I think if we attract some more businesses and small mom and pop stops, the employees will come, I think they're gonna kind of intern. It's not gonna be a giant workforce. And as a business owner, I know it's limited, so that's part of the problem. I think most of the state, and certainly in Pike County, it's difficult to find qualified people to work. I mean, there's been plenty of businesses that have left because they can't find qualified employees.
So this is you were talking, Milford, this is a problem for the region. You know, we've had tremendous growth in the region over the last generation, and all these people moving here because our schools are good and our land is inexpensive and housing is relatively inexpensive, and they raise their kids here, and their kids have to leave to find a job because the only jobs locally are flipping burgers or ringing registers, and when the economy is strong, we've got construction jobs. So I think this is not something that Milford Borough itself has a lot of influence on, but there are things that we can do relative to the borough itself. We need to be proactive about going out and soliciting the kinds of businesses and enterprises we want in the borough. You know, that's why I've spent a lot of time this year working with some people interested in buying the Milford Theater. Had to meet with members of the council, meet with the zoning officers, meet with other people in the community. You know, the microbrewery that's coming to town, I think that's a great enterprise for us. You know, it brings a younger audience. It does not have the bar problems, the night bar problems. You know, it's after you speak, you think of everything you want to say. I don't think developing our nightlife in Milford is a real priority. I think developing our business district, bringing back more service businesses like Doug and Penny when he brought Lures back here. I wonder if Lures would have come back to town if it hadn't been a lot of the improvements and the things that have made Milford that much more viable over the last 20 years, if it would have made sense for you to do that. But that's what we need to bring back.
I think that the mom and pop stores, like everybody has said, and the small town feel of Milford, the charm, that's what people like for their small businesses. We have, as everybody knows, the county seat here, so they take a lot of space. There's a lot of attorneys' offices in the borough. So with that, we don't have a lot of space to grow. We don't have hardly any lots, if any at all, that can be built on to expand a business, or somebody could come in and build the proper building that they might need to succeed. So yes, we need to be involved. We need to be involved with our neighboring municipalities and help them come up with a plan to help us along the way as well.
So, Erica.
All right. In light of the Pike County Courier's reporting about the pill mill in our midst, which was an illegal operation distributing an illegal amount of pain medication in the borough, how big do you think the opioid crisis is in Milford, and what should be done to address the issue? Also, should something be done about the lack of data about the opioid crisis in Pike County?
Rob, why don't we start with you in the middle there?
Well, it certainly is at epidemic proportions right now. I think a lot of people figure small town, they're going to be maybe sheltered from it, but it's here. It's in everybody's backyard. It's in our school systems. It's in our parks. It's wherever we turn. So education obviously is a pretty important factor. Sources and availability to help certainly would be beneficial, and I think Milford does try to be proactive as possible. I'm sure the police are as diligent as they can be in terms of looking for this type of stuff, but it's just something I think it's nationwide. I mean, we're not the only small town dealing with this. It's more than the problem that we have.
I think it's a problem everywhere, more than just our community that we live in, but it starts with us. I mean, we have to be aware of the situations that are within our community so that we can address them and be a stepping stone to try to help to take it down and mitigate the problem, which it hurts a lot of us and a lot of people. We have to be proactive and just try to let people aware of it, and the awareness is important.
My husband's an attorney, and I work with him, so I see this a lot because we have a lot of clients that come in for this. So I see the other end of it, but I think that's when it's too late. And we do need a drug court here. That has nothing to do with the borough, but we do need a drug court here. But that's when it's too late. What we need to do is we need to have something for our teens to do. There is nothing for the teens to do here in the borough. Absolutely nothing. I raised 5 wonderful kids. Thank God not one of them had any drug problems. But I do know it's out there. And I've heard from even my wonderful kids that they've seen it. So I know it's out there. But we have absolutely nothing for our teens to do here. And we have to start doing something. One of the things that I'd like to do is have the borough hall. Maybe we could have the teens come in and mentor them something. Ask the teens what it is that you want. What it is that we can do to keep you here, to keep you off the streets any way that we can. And so that before they go out and take those opiates. We need to get them before that happens. It's too late once we get them into the jails. That's not what we want. We don't want all of our kids in jails. We need something for our kids to do. We need something to come here, talk to the kids and say, you know, what can we do? I know a couple of attorneys that can come here and talk to them, and they'll tell them, if you want to be an attorney, this is what you do. You can follow us around, you can do it. I can get a couple chefs over here. We'll do whatever those kids want to get them interested to not go out and do those drugs. Because once it's gone, it's too late.
I agree with everybody, but I think we have to face that it's been here for a while. It might not have been opioids, but there were other drugs that this are over. And I think part of it we have to face, we probably need to get the community involved in community watches and stuff. We have a very small, I think we have to get the community involved in community watches. We have a small community, we have a small police force. All of us see things going on. And you see where there's transfers of things, people hanging around and stuff, but very little of it gets reported. And I really think that's probably the only thing we can do on the borough level. I believe the county's starting to face it, and I think, you know, it's a county-wide, statewide issue. So, but I think we could do that in the borough level.